Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello, my name is Dorotea and I'm a crocheter behind Croby Patterns. In today's video I'm going to show you how to crochet these baby shoes that you can see here. The stitch count in this tutorial is for the size 0 to 6 months. You can find the written instructions on my blog Croby Patterns and a PDF pattern with additional sizes in my pattern shops on Etsy, Ravelry and Lovecraft. I will leave the link down below. You are going to need a couple of items to start this crochet tutorial. The first one is yarn. These baby shoes are made with 100% cotton Aran Weight yarn in 2 shades of blue. The brand I'm using here is Yarn and Colors and this is their yarn called Epic. The next thing is 3.5mm crochet hook, scissors, a tapestry needle, the one that has the round end just because it's easier to use. The pointy ones usually split the yarn. A stitch marker, if you have to, even better, and 2 buttons, 2 centimeters in diameter. This video was kindly brought to you by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creatives like you and me on various topics like illustration, fine art, video, freelancing, marketing, and much more. I love Skillshare and I have been a member for a while now. I've recently started a class called Indoor Gardening, Grow Houseplants, Veggies and Herbs by Ekta Chowdhury. I live in an apartment and the only way for me to grow plants is in pots on my balcony. I'm new to gardening and this was perfect introduction to the world of plants for me. I've learned everything from how to grow houseplants, tomatoes, herbs, and even microgreens. This class and thousands of classes more are available on Skillshare. Most classes are 60 minutes long, divided into short lessons to fit any schedule. The first 1000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description will get 1 month free trial of Skillshare so you can start exploring your creativity today. Thank you Skillshare for sponsoring this video. We are going to start with the sole. You will need 2 soles, one for each shoe. The tutorial for the sole is a separate video tutorial and you can find the link to the tutorial and the pattern in the description down below. Once you have 2 soles, return to this video tutorial and continue with the upper part of the shoe. We're going to start right in the center of the heel. Make sure you're still skipping the slip stitches here on the sole and you will have to skip them also later in each round as well. The nicer side of the shoe should be always facing out, in our case also down. Now take some yarn in a contrasting color. I will be using light blue and attach the yarn to the sole. The first round of the upper part is made into the back loops only and we will create 1 single crochet into each of the next 44 stitches. Start in the very first stitch of the round and end in the last stitch of the round and make sure you are skipping the slip stitch from the round below, so from the sole. At the end of the round, join the round with a slip stitch, a brand new slip stitch, always made into the very first stitch of the round. In this round, so our very first round of the upper part, we did not lose or add any stitches. This means we have to finish the round with 44 stitches in total. Now let's start with the second row. we are going to start with chain 1. We are also going to start in the very first stitch of the round. Now work into both loops and work 1 half double crochet into each of the next 44 stitches. So the half double crochet stitch is a little bit different than just a single crochet. What we are going to do first is we are going to yarn over, insert the hook into the stitch, grab the yarn on the other side, pull the yarn through, and then yarn over one more time and pull the yarn through all the stitches on our hook, and that is half double crochet stitch. So at the end of the round, join the round with a slip stitch. That should give you 44 stitches in total. Round 3, chain 1, then work 1 single crochet stitch into the first 11 stitches. Once you have that, repeat half double crochet 2 together stitch to join first 2 stitches, and then work 1 half double crochet stitch into the next 2 stitches, and repeat that 5 times in total. Now work 1 half double crochet 2 together stitch to join the next 2 stitches. And finish the round with a 1 single crochet stitch made into each of the next 11 stitches. At the end of the round, join the round with a slip stitch. So this was the very first round of decreases, and at the end of this round you should have 38 stitches in total. Now we are in round 4, chain 1 and work 1 single crochet into each of the next 12 stitches. When you have that, work 1 half double crochet stitch into the next one. Join next 2 stitches with a half double crochet to together stitch. Now this is the brand new stitch again. We are going to join the next 2 stitches with a double crochet to together stitch, and we are going to repeat that stitch 4 times in total. When you have that, join next 2 stitches with a half double crochet to together stitch. Work 1 half double crochet stitch into the next one. And finish the round with a 1 single crochet stitch made into each of the next 12 stitches. At the end of the round, join the round with a slip stitch, and this round should give you 32 stitches. Round 5, chain 1, and then work 1 single crochet into each of the next 10 stitches. Once you have that, join the next 2 stitches with a half double crochet to together stitch. After that, repeat double crochet to together stitch 4 times. Join next 2 stitches with a half double crochet to together stitch. And finish the round with single crochet stitches, which means work 1 single crochet into each of the next 10 stitches. When you have that, join the round with a slip stitch made into the very first stitch of the round. And that round, so round 5, should give you 26 stitches in total. We are now in round 6. This is also our last round on the upper part before we start working on the strap. This round is also very simple and straightforward. All you need to do is to start with chain 1, start in the very first stitch of the round, and then work 1 single crochet into each of the next 26 stitches. Join the round with a slip stitch, cut the yarn and fasten off. Repeat all the steps for the second shoe and start working on the straps. The pattern from the left and the right shoe is from now on different, and I will show you how to make both. We will start with the left shoe and then we will continue with the right one. So for the left shoe, we are going to start counting in the first stitch from the row below towards the toes. It can be a bit confusing at first to understand the anatomy of the stitches, but once you figure it out, you will see it's pretty easy. On the heel, we have 3 main stitches. The one in the middle is a slip stitch. You will recognize it by one additional chain on top of it and the yarn tail. The stitch under the slip stitch is a very first stitch of the round. It's hidden under the slip stitch and you will sometimes have to do some digging to be able to insert the hook into it. The stitch on the right next to the slip stitch is the last stitch of the round, and that's it. For the next step, I recommend using stitch markers. We are going to insert the stitch marker into the 10th and 13th stitch going from the heel towards the toes. Also, every stitch has 2 loops, front that is closer to you and the back loop, that one is right next to the front loop, just a bit further away. We are going to start with the chain made of 7 chains, and then we are going to attach that chain to the main part with a single crochet stitch, but we are going to use the front loops only. Once you have that, work 1 single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches, still front loops only. After that, use both loops and continue crocheting single crochet stitches all the way to the stitch marked with a stitch marker. Create one single crochet stitch into the stitch mark with a stitch marker. Here you can see that the front loops are already taken, but the back ones are still free. We are going to use that back loops and create one single crochet into each of them, so one single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. Don't finish the last stitch all the way through. When you still have 2 loops on your crochet hook, take the yarn in a contrasting color, create a loop and pull it through. Secure it with chain 1 and turn the row. We are now in row 2. This row is the first row of moss stitches, and for that we have to repeat the sequence: 1 single crochet into the first one, chain 1, skip 1, 17 times all together. Now work 1 single crochet stitch into each of the last 2 stitches. But again, when you still have 2 loops on your crochet hook, take the yarn in a contrasting color, create a loop and pull it through, secure it with chain 1 and turn the row. Repeat the row of moss stitches one more time, this time with the light blue yarn. Don't finish the last stitch all the way through. When you still have 2 loops on your crochet hook, take the yarn in a contrasting color, create a loop and pull it through. Secure it with chain 1 and then turn your work. Row 4, repeat moss stitches, but this time only 16 times. Once you have that, in addition to the skipped stitch from the last moss stitch, skip 2 more and create 2 chains, so 3 chains in total. Work 1 single crochet stitch into each of the last 2 stitches, then change the yarn, chain 1 and turn your work. Repeat the row of moss stitches as normal. Repeat single crochet 1, chain 1, skip 1 17 times. Work 1 single crochet stitch into each of the last 2 stitches, then change the yarn, chain 1 and turn your row. Repeat this row one more time, then cut the yarn and fasten off. Take the second shoe, position it so that you see the heel. This shoe is going to be a bit different from the first one. Now we are going to use the slip stitch, but we are going to skip the first stitch of the row. Take 2 stitch markers and mark 10th and 13th stitch from the heel towards the toes, going counterclockwise. We are going to start in the 13th stitch, but we are going to use the back loops first. Join the yarn in the 13th stitch with chain 1, start in the same stitch and work 1 single crochet stitch into each of the first 3, into back loops only. After that, work 1 single crochet into each of the next 23, but this time use both loops. After that, work 1 single crochet into each of the last 3 stitches into front loops only. Then create a chain made of 7 chains, cut the yarn and fasten off. This last chain that you use for fastening off is not the chain we are going to use for the strap. We are going to skip that one and use the next 7, but make sure you still have 7 of them even after finishing the row. Now take the yarn in a contrasting color, attach it to the first chain, start with your stitches in the same chain as you used for attaching the yarn, and start repeating the moss stitch sequence. So all you have to do now is to repeat single crochet 1, chain 1, then skip 1 17 times and work 1 single crochet into each of the last 2 stitches of the row. Now change the color and chain 1, then turn your work. We are now in row 3. Start in the first stitch and repeat the moss stitch 17 times. Once you have that, work 1 single crochet stitch into each of the last 2 stitches. Change the yarn, chain 1 and turn your work. We are in row 4 now. This one can be a bit challenging, but we are going to do it together. So start in the first stitch, then chain 1, skip 1 stitch, then chain 2 more, skip 2 more stitches, and then continue with moss stitches. Repeat the sequence 16 times. Then work 1 single crochet into each of the last 2 stitches. The next 2 rows are pretty simple, both made of moss stitches and 2 single crochet stitches at the end of the row. Once you are done with the strap, you should have 1 row made of single crochet stitches made with light blue yarn, and then 5 rows of moss stitches, each made with different color. Once you have that, cut the yarn and fasten off, hide the yarn tails between the stitches and continue with the edging. Take the yarn in a lighter color and create the edging. For the right shoe, start in the single crochet that you find right in the fold between the end and the beginning of row 1. Crochet single crochet stitches evenly up towards the first corner. Then work 1 single crochet, 2 chains, and then 1 single crochet again into the corner into the same stitch. Crochet single crochet stitches evenly across the top edge towards the next edge. Work 1 single crochet, 2 chains, and then 1 single crochet again into the corner, and then crochet down towards the next corner. The bottom edge is already light blue, that's why we are skipping that part. Finish the edging, cut the yarn, fasten off, and hide the yarn tails between the stitches. Now repeat the process for the left shoe, but this time start on the strap and finish in the fold. Everything else is exactly the same. The very last step are the buttons. Attach the buttons corresponding to the buttonholes and your baby shoes are finished. Alright guys, that would be all for today. Thank you so much for watching and supporting my work. It really means a lot. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like this video if you liked it. Leave me a comment if you have a question or you just want to say hello. I wish you happy crocheting and until next time, bye!